Welcome to arguably the most important discussion of the Clio Cloud Conference this year. I'm afraid it's all downhill from here, folks, so you're peaking a little bit early. Today we're going to be talking through some of the tips and tricks and techniques and learnings that the three of us have had around how to better optimize and improve law firm finance techniques. I'm going to skip over the agenda here. We're going to have a pretty casual discussion. To introduce myself, my name's Alex. I'm the VP Finance at Clio. I was just telling these gentlemen, I just celebrated my 7-year anniversary at Clio, so it's been a tremendous journey, and I've gotten to learn a lot about improving and enhancing finance. Maybe, Bob, I can pass it to you.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Standing room only. You're right. This is the highest impact session of the entire event. You can just pack up and go after. So my name's Bob Govero, Robert Govero, as it's on the screen. I'm a founder of a CPA firm in Canada. My CPA firm, just to give a little bit of context, we started in 2008. With just myself, like maybe many of you guys have started your own firm from the ground up. We're now a professional services team of 200 servicing North America. So definitely over the last 18 years have gone from, startup to implementing new systems, recruitment, value billing. So lots of the things that we want to chat about today, but excited to maybe share part of that experience and part of that journey to help you guys understand how you get your business to the next level as well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emil Abadian, a CPA here in America. My practice is based in Los Angeles. Started pretty much at the same time as Bob, a little bit later, 2009, where we work with all kind of industries initially until last year when we made a bold decision to shave off all our non-law firm clients and exclusively work with law firms. So that was a big risk we took, but I think that was a good thing. We're growing back. We're not 200 people yet. We're about 10, 11 people right now, but we work exclusively with law firms. And we do a lot of the things that we're going to discuss today: flat fee billing, hourly billing, move over from hourly billing to flat fee, and value-based billing. So hopefully we can provide some value here today.
Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen. So I think that's a great segue. Let's just jump right in. Emil, maybe you can lead a little bit of a discussion around this transition from flat fee to hourly billing. We know 85% of law firms still do hourly billing, but clients expect something different. What can you share?
Yeah, that's a very good topic to start off with. And just a little bit about our firm to just explain. We used to do hourly billing initially, and I was creating so much frustration between us and the client because, bills were going out. They were not expecting it. There was always add-on services that they didn't kind of expect. So it was creating this tension between us and the client at any given time. But we decided years ago, we have done it flat fee billing and value-based billing for years now. But when we decided to move that over and have the rate set at the beginning of the engagement, you set those expectations at the initial of the engagement, so there's no confusion. So we're all on the same page, and we convert that relationship from service provider to being a strategic partner, if you want to call that. So that creates so much better relationship, and when you do that, the relationship is for almost forever. Like they're not gonna go. And the question now comes back to why are so many law firms still charging on hourly when we know that most clients they want flat fee billing? And if you ask me, I think it's the uncertainty. It's a little bit scared. Will I lose money on this engagement? Is it profitable enough if I don't go flat fee? Will I give the right rate? And yes, I understand it is a little bit scary in the beginning, but with a little bit of training, you will get it right, and you might lose a little bit in the beginning, but honestly, who cares? Because you're going to work with this client forever. And if you lose a little bit in the beginning, but it will even out at the long run. So moving over from hourly billing to flat fee billing, I think it's a game changer in the industry.
Awesome. Thank you. And Bob, I know you've got a lot of experience with this transition as well. Anything you can share?
Yeah, I think we were just chatting about this earlier as well. The difference between flat fee billing and value billing as well. That value billing could be flat fee, but identifying the value that we create in the work that we do. It's as a professional thinking of the hourly rate. Yes, we're going to continuously increase our hourly billable rate, but then people are sort of matching what our billable rate is to other people. Really, what we're creating is an outcome. And what we're able to do is create an impact for those people that we're working with. And what does that outcome, what does that result actually look like? How much is that result worth? And I think from our perspective, right, being able to shift into saying, here's the result, this result and outcome, regardless of whether it takes me 5 hours or 15 hours, it's the experience that we bring to the table and the result that you guys are looking for as clients that is really powerful. And so for us, for example, we moved to fixed fee billing in a lot of our products and our services that we offer. And one example for our firm with with a value-based billing is a CFO offer that I have personally. We have a CFO offer that goes out to most people, but if people want to work with me specifically, that rate of the value that we're bringing in a very short period of time is extremely high. So for example, I charge $3,500 an hour for strategic financial meetings with a core group of clients. It's not really something that I market, but I charge that $3,500 for that one meeting a month because we know and the clients know how much value we bring in that session. It's not my hourly rate that I would charge to do work, but it's the outcome and the value that I bring in that session to those clients that they continue to want to be part of that. So I would say the more we can continue to get away from hourly and into value billing and fixed fee billing, the more powerful it's going to be for our firms. And maybe just, talking about Clio as part of this as well, thinking of how we can do this as a firm, we move into the idea that, hey, we're working, a few hours a day that's billable right now. And how do we continue, if we're just doing hourly work, how do we continue to drive more revenue in our firm? And so starting to look at Clio Manage AI, some of the areas that can help support us get into more available time for work, more available time for value-based projects, we can really ramp up our revenue and maximize the profitability of our business.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, guys. I think one of the things that really stands out to me is what I heard from both of you is that as you transition from this sort of service-led hourly bill model to the value one, it actually enhanced the relationships you had with your clients. And I think that's incredible. I also think it's worth understanding that as AI becomes more and more ingrained in what we do, and as we practice law, people are going to understand that the length of time things take will decrease, but the value of what you're delivering isn't changing. So I think there's a real paradigm shift that's going to come from both clients and lawyers around this shift.
Can I just add one more
Please.
thing? Just thinking back to when we went into more of a fixed pricing model, we were fearful that our clients were going to say, hell no, we're not part of this. And we're even we made an acquisition in central Canada earlier this year, and we're introducing this model to our clients right now. And in fact, got some feedback this morning of how great it was, how predictable it was, how easy it was using a system like Clio to be able to make those fixed fee payments. So I think a lot of it is on us as professionals. It's a bit of a mindset shift where we have to go from, this is just how we do things, and here's the value related to how we can do this for you as a customer, right, or as a client. And to shift to that, we definitely have some barriers that we have in our mind that it's not going to go well. But from experience, we work with 5,000 businesses across North America every year. From experience, that mindset exists in everybody, but the reality is that there's very little resistance to your clients. You might have 2% that are resistant to it. You probably have 15 to 20% who will say, we don't really care one way or another. And then you'll have 80% that are like, this is the best thing ever. Thank you guys very much for transitioning into this. So that's just some experience from working with thousands of people across this space and this transition. It will be very positive for everyone involved.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Just to add something, this is an exciting topic. That's why we get all excited.
This is why this is the best session of the event. I'm glad you started that way.
So it's just important to keep in mind that flat fee billing is not same as value-based billing. Flat fee billing, you do an estimated proposal based on estimated time, or it's a flat fee based on estimated time. Value billing, as Bob just mentioned, it doesn't matter. It's like for example, if you're in a PI industry, you might be doing the same work for two different clients, spend same amount of time, but you might make hundreds of thousands from one client and just tens of thousands from another client. So, but that's not flat fee billing. That's value-based billing. How much value are they getting from you? So that's to your point there, where you charging $3,500 for your CFO client. That's the value they're getting from you. It's not your hourly rate. So just keep that in mind. It's two different things there.
So I'll toss you guys a curveball because I think this is a really important point. If you were speaking with one of these law firms, or saying, okay, you've convinced me, I want to do value-based billing. How the heck do I come up with my value? Like, can you give one or two tips or tricks around how folks should think through that?
So I remember, I believe heavily in coaching. All right. So since day one, I've invested in having my coaches help me understand how to get to the next level personally and professionally. And I remember one of my coaches, his name's Rob Nixon. He coaches accountants, though, not lawyers. But I remember him saying, as we were transitioning through this process, the hourly model really just creates inefficiency, right? Because if we're billing out at $400 an hour for a project, what's the incentive for us to do it quickly? Because we're just going to make more money if we take longer. And so he was looking at this and said, does that seem like it's in the best interest of the clients? And so that one kind of hit me. I was like, well, yeah, that's actually not a good model at all. But if you want to make money, you just take longer to do things. And that didn't really resonate with me very well. On the flip side, though, if you look at it and you say, okay, this is a $2,500 project. Now the onus is on me as a business, looking at introducing AI, looking at introducing systems, processes, efficiency within our team, so that $2,500 fixed fee engagement that may have been a profit of 30%, well, if we focus on efficiency and driving down our internal processes, the fixed fee doesn't change, but maybe our profit level goes up to 50, 60%, and we can control that. So I think that's an important element to understand as well.
Anything to add, Emil?
So to your point there, Alex, if you're an hourly based firm right now, you're thinking about this, okay, this makes sense. Bob and Emil, I have a point. Let's move it over. What do we do? You can't change overnight. That you got to keep in mind. We got to make small changes, and maybe just start with a few clients, and maybe a few clients that you don't really care for if you lose, and we all have those clients, don't we? So
Clio doesn't have any of those clients. We love everyone.
Because we work. It's a learning curve. We'll never become proficient in this, but it gets better and better. So do a couple of clients and try it out, and you got to keep measuring it. You can't just move over from hourly billing to flat fee and call it a day. You got to keep measuring it. And the way we measure for my firm, we're a CPA firm, we're not law firms, but in my opinion, it's the same business. We just happen to offer different services. We measure our average hourly rate, which is basically the fee we charge our client. Let's say we charge a client $10,000 for this year, divided by all time across the entire firm, anywhere from receptionist all the way to partners. Let's say we spend 10 hours on this engagement, 10,000, that's $1,000 an hour, for example. We don't do that, but just an example. And you got to keep that, and you got to have that average hourly rate in back of your mind. What average hourly rate do I want for my firm? Is it $200, $300, $400? And keep in mind, that's lower than your hourly rate, because you have anywhere from receptionists to all the way to partners who put in their time. So as long as you start slow and keep monitoring it, I guarantee you that you're gonna get better on it. And once you get it, you will never go back to hourly billing. It's mind-blowing.
And maybe just one more addition on that as you look to transition. Grab the lower value services that are very repetitive and start there. Like looking at an estate plan, for example. If you're doing estate planning, grabbing a fixed fee rate on something that can be done, it's fairly repetitive. There's less variables involved in it, real estate transactions, stuff like that, where you're doing higher volume of them. There may be lower price points and the market's sort of demanding that you stay within, a reasonable sort of fee. That's a great spot to start. And then the higher value, higher outcome, higher result, you can value bill instead of fixed fee, where you say, hey, this is the result that we're going to get you. We're going to get it for you. This is what the cost is going to be. And then it's your job to deliver it as efficiently as possible. So start with those smaller value, repetitive services first. That'll be an easier transition for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, everyone's convinced. So I guess the next step is actually getting those bills produced, put out there. What's really fascinating to me is our legal trends report data is indicating that lawyers on average are billing out only 2.5 hours of their day. Surely they're working more than that. But unfortunately, like a lot of that's being spent on admin. It was really relevant. Like this morning, I helped register and check in a lawyer whose partner couldn't make it to the keynote because she had to get all the bills out for the month, which you just hate to hear, right? So, Emil, maybe I can toss this one over to you. Can you just share a little bit about how technology and automation and even AI is now helping unlock billing and freeing up time to actually practice law?
Yeah, absolutely. And we got to keep in mind when we use technology such as Clio, AI, it's amazing, but we can't implement technology without processes in place. I think we got to have the processes in place before we implement the technology, because the other way around, you will just mess it up. You can't buy the best technology out there and expect that it's going to work automatically. It's like buying a Rolls Royce and driving it like a Toyota. Nothing wrong with Toyota. I'm driving a Toyota myself. But you got to have the processes in place and then implement the technology such as Clio AI, Clio Manage, to run these bills for you. And what we do, for example, we have systems in place for our clients that we do billing, and we do a lot of billing for our clients, and it could be thousands of bills every month. So without these processes in place, it's impossible for us to get them out and collect them timely. So one process is, for example, by third of the month, all time by each staff have to be in Clio. There's no ifs or buts. And the fourth of the month, our team must have issued all the pre-bills and sent it back to the firm partners. Depending on the size of the firm, it might be one operations manager or multiple partners approving those bills. And then by the fifth, it goes back to us where we send out to all the clients. So that's the process. And we utilize Clio to implement those processes. And in today's world, business world, you can't just send out sloppy invoices. It just doesn't look good. You can't put an invoice on a Word document and send it out to client with spelling issues and all kind of grammatical issues. Clio is fantastic for that. With Clio AI, it does it for you. You don't have to waste time cleaning up your invoices. And so, but again, I'm very, very detailed on this. You got to have the processes in place. Otherwise, the technology is not going to do any use for you.
Anything to add there, Bob?
If we're working and we're billing 2.5 hours a day, again, the results and the outcomes that we drive, the more results and outcomes that we can drive for our clients, the more revenue we're going to generate. So if we're able to free up, I know some of us are working more than 8 hours a day, I'm guessing. There's a few of us in the room that are doing that. So to free up, 6, 8 hours a day in time, technology is in its the greatest opportunity for all of us to free up our time is right now. And, thinking of some of the new releases, Clio Manage, to be able to look at your calendar and just add time onto a docket so that you're tracking it with one click. It integrates with your calendar so that you're not missing anything. I would say that maybe that's the other piece too, is 2.5 hours might be the actual billable time, but how many billable hours should you have done during the day that you just missed? I've been there, done that throughout my career. We've missed a lot of opportunity in capturing everything, where if you're using Clio Manage with some of the tools that are available in there, we're going to capture that time. So maybe we're not changing anything except it's 2.5 hours to 4 hours of billable time a day. But Like, let's look at the AI and the efficiencies that we can utilize in our lives right now to create more capacity to create results for our clients, because that's how we end up winning. So take advantage of those things. And, the other one, I think we're probably going to elaborate on this a little bit more, but using a system that you can have a one-click invoice go out to your clients, and then the system collects the payments for it and reconciles that payment internally. That is just so powerful, not only for your time, but your admin time. If you can free up your admin time, can they help support you more with making sure that your calendar's right so that it's easy billing? So, looking at the entire system and your entire team and saying, how can we utilize the technology and the efficiency that's here to drive more revenue and more results for our clients? It's there. We just need to do a better job with it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. The other thing I got to plug Clio products, of course. The other thing that I think is really important is bulk or batch billing, which is something that Clio Manage can provide for. And in my opinion, is essential if you're going to scale and really grow your business. You can't be doing these things one by one at a time. So Clio Manage and our AI products as well can enable you to do this sort of single click, if you will, bulk billing, and just get the whole task done in a highly scalable way. Something that we've found is that firms that do this in our sort of databases are seeing 20% higher realization rates than firms that don't. So just by easing the burden of billing by doing this bulk approach, directly leads to your firm being more profitable and operating better. So I think Bob, you hit the nail on the head. You got a little ahead of us. The bill's out there. It's value billed. How can we ensure that we're actually collecting that cash and collecting it faster? Bob, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, let's, Clio Pay. To have a system, let me take a step back.
Sure.
One of the challenges that I see across the board with all business owners, not lawyers, so I don't want to pick on you guys. Accountants are way worse than you guys at this. But across the board is looking at when a transaction takes place and when we get paid for it. And one of the challenges that we have, especially in down economies or where cash is a little bit tighter with our customers, is that if we aren't getting paid either before or at the time we deliver the transaction value, it becomes extremely more difficult to get paid after the fact. Now, lawyers tend to be a little bit more scary to not pay than accountants. Accountants are like, okay, we'll never do anything about this. That's really great. Thanks. You guys are a little bit more threatening, perceived threatening anyway. But at the same token, thinking of it from a business perspective. So instead of being a professional for a moment and delivering those services, thinking of it from a business perspective to say, how can we change the transaction time and the cash collected time from after the fact to before? And so, using Clio payments to get some form of down payment or deposit upfront, and then making sure that when the engagement's completed, that the remainder of that payment is collected as well, and let the system do it, right? Because I know as professionals, we're worried about getting the work out the door, and we're going to bill months later. And at that point, everybody's forgot that they even hired us. So at that moment, they're going to be really frustrated that they owe us money for something they can't even remember that they got value from. So it's from an entire experience level with our customers and a better cash flow management from us as business owners, it's important to focus on getting those payments up front. And again, the system will allow for it to do it for us. Let's take advantage of it. It takes into account all forms of payment, Apple Pay, credit card processing payments. I don't think it accepts crypto or anything crazy like that.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, but next year's release. But looking at it that way and just making it easy for all customers to not have an excuse that their method of payment, that they couldn't drop off a check at the office. Well, let's just make it convenient and let Clio Pay do its work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Emil, anything to add on your end?
Yeah. If we go back to where we started this discussion with the flat fee and value-based billing, that solves the billing issue also per se. Because when you have the expectation set, the fee is set from the beginning of the engagement, you charge them, as Bob said, at the beginning of each month, if it's monthly retainer or monthly work, you won't have all of these billing issues. So it solves the other problem. But assuming that you haven't done it yet, you're still hourly based, Clio payment is, I think it's a must. If you're not doing it, you're behind. It's going to be an issue. And I think the Clio's trend report shows that firms that offer electronic payment method collects their invoices 5 times faster than the ones that don't. That's significant amount. So, but not only that, you offer them electronic payment, but you need to also make it easy for them to pay. And what we notice when we send out the invoices to our clients is that we always send a link with the invoice and make it easy for them to pay, but not only via email, but also via text. Anytime we send out a text message, and Clio does that, by the way, allows you to send out a text message with the invoice link. I don't have data on this, but the collection rate is a lot faster when they get on text, because we're all on our phones on a daily basis. And most of our clients want to pay us. It's not that they don't want to pay, it's just that they get busy. If you send them a physical invoice, it's going to take forever for them to get it out. But if it's on a link, easy to pay, you have to make it easy for your clients to operate with you and work with you, because that's where the business world is going. And it's helping you. Your cash flow will increase, definitely.
And maybe just one extra thing to add to that, it's so important, right, is that we worry about the fees, right? We get caught up in, well, what's the credit card processing fee to collect this payment? I can tell you, again, from experience, looking at firms that collect money up front and pay the fee versus those that don't bill until later and maybe don't collect it, the bad debt expense or the write-off is way higher than the fees that you're paying up front. But when you're paying the fees up front, you have all the cash in your account, right? So from a cash flow management standpoint, as a business, way more powerful to put that money in your pocket than hope that you'll eventually get it from their pocket.
Yeah, I think it's just a truth of humanity that every single step you add into a process decreases the likelihood of someone actually going through and doing it. You know, our customers want to pay us. They want to pay us for the value that we've given to them. So let's make it as easy as possible. Give them as much optionality as possible. Send them the email or the text, or get them to log in through the Clio client portal, whatever that might look like. The more you can remove barriers, the more likely it is that you'll get paid and continue operating your successful, profitable law firm. Guys, we're nearly at the end here. So, we've covered a bunch of questions, but maybe any final thoughts, if you can just give one piece of advice each to the lawyers here in this audience around one thing, whether it's technology or automation or AI, that can just make their firms work better.
I think we touched it already, and using the AI is a must. If we don't, we will fall behind. Your competitors are using AI, and use AI for the right reason. And we talked about making our firm more efficient, making more money by using AI, but we got to look at the other way also. Look at your team. When you're utilizing AI in your operation, yes, you become more efficient, you build more, you make more profit, but also you give opportunities to your team members to do things that AI can do for them, and they do more value-based services. They provide value to them. They talk to clients face-to-face rather than sitting down and drafting agreements or other boring things that AI can do. So think about AI not only from an efficiency perspective, but also from your team's perspective.
I'm going to go on a completely different tangent from what we've been talking about today, because if it's one piece of advice,
Please, yeah. Brush your teeth, eat your vegetables.
Comb your hair, be nice to your parents. The one thing that I would say is, let's remember that this is a business, right? And we're in the business of, delivering our services as professionals, but that this is really our business and we're in control of it, not anybody else. And the idea with the business is, a multitude of things. We can all identify with what our individual purpose is for why we have our law firm. But what I would say is, as this business, you're looking to accomplish a few things. One, you need to make sure that you're making money, right? So everything we've talked about today should enhance the amount of money that you should make as a practitioner. I wrote a book, it's called The Wealthy Entrepreneur, and in there I make a bold statement saying profit needs to be the number one focus in your business. And this is why. It's not because I don't like the impact or the value or the connections that we have, but if we aren't responsible for making money in our practice, we can't reinvest in our people. We can't reinvest in new solutions. We can't donate back to the community. We don't have something sustainable for the long run. And if you guys are wanting to build a law firm that you're really proud of, part of that is being a leader and understanding that this is a business and you've got a responsibility to making money so that you can reinvest in it, or you can take it out yourself, right? Maybe your purpose is just to make as much money as possible, and to each their own. But being profitable is a center focus for each of you, and utilizing these tools and some of these strategies, getting to fixed fee billing, are some of the components that are going to drive that success for the long run. So just remember, we don't owe anything to anybody as practitioners. This is our business. Let's build our business the way that we want to build our business.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you both so much for being so generous with your time and your insights. Thanks, folks.